All 105.7, Albany's new alternative. I'm Steve Richards with the record company. Chris, Alex, Mark, welcome back to Albany.
It's great to be back.
It's been a while since you've been here. Last time we saw you guys was over the summer. Hard to believe. Actually, right around the time, a week before the album came out.
Yeah.
The new album, which we'll talk about in a bit. But Mountain Jam.
Oh yeah.
That was a great experience, right?
Love Mountain Jam.
Great spot.
Second Mountain Jam.
That was your second one, too, yeah.
Both very memorable.
I want to start way back. How did you guys first get together?
We got together, I moved to LA from Milwaukee in about 2010, and then ran into Alex through something that I had actually thrown up, like I didn't know anybody in town, so my wife suggested I put up a Craigslist ad, so I did, and he just was happening to, said he'd never seen one of those and felt compelled to write. These guys had just gotten done with a band, and I certainly had never done that because it was just not what I never needed to. I was in Milwaukee, I knew everybody in town, and if I needed a drummer, a bass player, I could find him. When I got to LA, the well was dry. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a reputation or nothing, so met each other, liked each other's influences, became buddies, hung out for a good year or so, just kind of listening to records, hanging out at the house, listening to vinyls, and one night we just got inspired by an old John Lee Hooker record and decided to start doing this.
That John Lee Hooker record, was that the moment where you really clicked?
It was a record I bought at Amoeba Records in Hollywood for $1, and the second I put it on, I remember telling these guys, I was like, I have a lot of records, but I think I found the best record in my collection, and sometimes that's how music works. This beat up, scratchy record that costs $1 can be the thing that sort of turns you on to the idea of eventually trying to make music that's sort of in the spirit of that rawness that record had. So that was actually a kind of an important moment where we had that on. Think of the beers on the patio, the windows open, the record, the speakers sitting on top of the windowsill, and put that on, and that was part of it. That was part of the process.
The last 2+ years, has it all been a blur? I mean, it started, the first album you recorded, what, in your living room?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we did. Yeah.
I don't know, I think parts of it can be, but it's like anything you do in life, you know, you always sit around and you're like, man, what just happened to the past 5 years or whatever. But then there's like specific things that you definitely remember. I think being in bands our whole life, with this one, what the standout is, we've had some of those moments. You know, we're always working and working, but you get like something great happens that probably didn't happen in anything else we've ever done, and I remember that stuff. You know, I mean, there's a long tour or something, you may not remember every second of it, but I mean, it's great. You know, people are starting to show up at shows. We got to do the John Mayer tour, you certainly remember that, and just things like that. And yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of time to sit and reflect and go, yeah, okay, you know.
Yeah.
We're not those types of guys anyway. You just kind of build and then keep rolling, you know. Especially
with the busy touring you guys have been doing, there hasn't been a lot of time. This new album, All This Life, as I mentioned, came out in June. How did you have, writing on the road, which you wrote a lot of it on the road, what was that like?
Well, you kind of put your ideas together out there when you're out on the road. You kind of gather it all together, and then you when you get home, you start writing. You know, Alex had a nice pile of ideas, specifically that when we got to work, he had you know, a lot of our stuff centered around the bass and the drums, you know, and so if he comes up with a good bass line, that can sometimes really get things moving. I mean, we had our song "Life to Fix," the first single. That was something that got written at various stages on the road, and we just try to you gather all the ideas you can and then put them together, you know, when you get back home. And when you're under the gun, you know, you gotta be ready. I think right around when Off the Ground started kind of transforming things for us, we had a conversation like, okay, be thinking about that next record, like start considering what the next record's going to be. So,
what's the story behind Life to Fix?
You know, it's just about kind of fixing yourself from the inside, you know, and you know, for me, I think today it's there's just a lot going on in the world. It's a stressful time, and it's okay to say that you've got this life to fix, that you're not perfect, and if more people kind of shared that sentiment together, you'd see that you have a lot in common with people, a lot more than you think. So that's kind of for me what it's about. I think it's it can kind of be different for everybody, you know. But
we didn't really sit down and like conceptualize a narrative for an album, you know. I guess some people do that, but these songs, once they started to come together, kind of created their own. And it was a conversation that we would have a lot, which was just seeing everybody walk around on phones and the overload of garbage on the internet, and then all of a sudden just all that stuff. And so we had a lot of song ideas that were kind of trying to figure out how to parse through all that, and just kind of, and I think with that song in particular, it ended up inside, you know, and seeing the lyric part of it come together with this cool bass line and everything. It's, you know, that song went through a few different versions, and then we found what we really liked, which was how it ended up. But it was kind of steeped around a lot of those conversations we would have internally. I'm just like, have you seen it out there? It's like it's a mess, you know.
Any other new songs off this album getting a good reaction so far at shows, or that have surprised you with the reaction?
I mean, anytime.
Getting better. That's
yeah,
like
I'm getting better, and I'm feeling it right now.
Yeah.
It's really hitting it. The movie song, "Make It Happen." We've been playing a song called "You and Me" now. It's been doing real well. I mean, it's always nice to. Luckily, a good group of the fans that are coming to the song. Coming to the song, coming to the record, coming to the show. People that are coming to the show have heard the record and know more than one song. That's what I was trying to say. So, which is a real blessing as a group, so that's always nice. We're an album band. We think, you know, obviously there are singles, but we listen to albums when we write the songs. Even when we did this album, we got to the end, we had like, you know, almost 10 songs. There were a couple versions of songs that we felt when you listen to them in context with the record didn't have enough over here, so we tried a different groove. You know, it wasn't just, let's make, you know, 3 singles and the rest can be this. It's like, no, we're going to make 10 songs that play together that you can put on beginning to end. We think in terms of side A and side B. Is it old-fashioned? Well, you never know what can come back in fashion. You know, everything comes back around. So that's just the way we like to think. So that's kind of it. And the fans come, and it's surprising. You know, they know more than one song, which is a real blessing for a band. You know what I mean? Instead of just waiting for the single. Yeah. And then the show's over.
I've noticed some cover songs popping up on some of the set lists.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys being one. What was the Beastie Boys' influence on you guys?
I mean, we were just junkies on that group. I mean, Paul's Boutique is one of the best crafted things, you know. I mean, it never gets old, you know. And it wasn't like, I don't know. I mean, we never really sat down and said like, why are we doing this? I think our friends back home in California have this series called Jam in the Van, and it's this cool, like, old renovated RV. They've stepped up the whole production now, and they just put together these really cool, like, intimate things and throw it on YouTube. And I think we had done a couple, and we're like, let's just do, like, we were messing with So What You Want one time. Just put it up, thought nothing of it, and then you start playing shows, and there's always just people start yelling, you know, like, oh, I guess somebody saw that. And so we'll do some of those, but, you know, a lot of that came from when we started as a band, getting like a residency night. You know, we got one early on, like within the first few months of starting, and we're like, well, we don't have enough songs of our own. So we kind of did a cool thing where it was like every week we'll cover a classic A and B side of a 45 or just something, so we could fill up the night, but also it became kind of fun to, you know, tackle some Stooges songs or whatever we were doing at the time. Kind of grew out of that, I think.
Would that be the one artist you guys would like to collaborate with?
Beasties? Well, I mean, I don't know. We've never really had the conversation of which artists. I mean, we've always kept everything we've done it ourselves. Obviously, anything being in that's so far out. Like, those guys aren't really real to us in the creative aspect. They did, like,
They're
you know, it's
wizards
like,
on
yeah,
the
we don't view them as like peers. We view them as guys who made us want to be musicians. They're our heroes. You know, so it's hard to say how would you, you know, be like a kid wanting to shoot a free throw with LeBron James or something. You know,
I mean,
it's
if
like
you can make some calls, go for it.
yeah, I mean, by all means. But what I'm saying is that's like such a high honor that I've never even really thought about it. We're so busy just trying to make our own stuff and be worthy of this opportunity to play music live and do it for a living. Something we dreamt of since we were kids, and we believe you got to work hard every day to stay worthy of it. So that's really where the focus is every day for us.
Did you ever get this far in your dreams?
Never thought about it. Dreams never are what comes to pass. You know, even if you're picturing, you know, we were joking earlier, it's like, because we did the John Mayer tour and you play Madison Square Garden and you may be joking with your buddies, hey, someday we play the Garden, and then we played the Garden, and it was not what it's completely different. It's life. It's actually occurring. It's not a dream anymore. It's not between your ears. It's out here. And so I kind of gave up on trying to match my dreams with what's actually happening. I just started realizing it's like, I always wanted to do this, and now we are, and this is what it is. This is what it actually is. So a dream can go away. I'd rather have the memory. You know what I mean? So we've made a lot of really great memories that way. You know what I mean? What's the one thing you miss most about Wisconsin? That small town in Wisconsin you grew up in. My family. Yeah. I miss the hell out of my family every day. But, you know, I miss the people. They're a quirky bunch. They're a zany, wacky group of people. They will welcome strangers with open arms. They got big hearts. They work their guts out. They never expect a compliment. Good people. So, you know, I do miss that. I do not miss the winter at all. The December birthday and the first birthday I had in California where I was drinking a beer outside with a t-shirt on and I'm looking at the blue sky. I'm like, yeah, this is I like this. I'm gonna stay here for a while. But I do miss home. I really do. I always will. All right, let's go around the horn here. First concert you went to?
First concert, and we're being honest, right? Mine was
nobody ever is, you know.
No, mine was I grew up upstate New York, Elmira, which is not too far from here. Yeah. And Broome County Arena was the place you went for the big shows, and mine was Kiss and Slaughter opened.
Nice.
And Little Caesar was the first of the 3 bands. Yeah. And my mom waited in the station wagon for like 6 hours for us.
Chris?
First concert.
Well, this was, do you want the first concert I ever went to, period,
yes,
or the first concert I paid my own money to go see? It's because the first concert I ever went to, period, was I was about 5 years old, and my parents took me down to the Elkhorn County Fair, and we saw the Oak Ridge Boys.
Oh, classic country.
Elvira.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was,
classic song.
Yeah, and the first concert I ever paid my own money to see was Metallica. I was a junkie, just like all kids,
yeah,
you know. So, but Oak Ridge Boys.
Oak Ridge Boys and Metallica, all right. Alex?
I think mine was Genesis at Vet Stadium in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents.
The old Vet. Yeah.
My parents took, and I just remember, I think we were on the floor, and my parents didn't realize that people stood, not only just stood, but stood on their chairs, so just so you could see the stage. So
saw some guys.
I'm a little kid trying to try to peer over, but yeah, that was when the Invisible Touch album was kind of ruling the land, and yeah, I went to that
nobody
show.
opened that, right? No opener.
There wasn't an opener for that.
You don't open Genesis.
No, they always play long shows, yeah.
Yeah,
first album you bought?
I think it was probably more cassette tapes. It was probably like I was a kid of the 80s, so probably Duran Duran of some sort, one of those. Maybe Dire Straits, Brothers in Arm. I can picture the little spindle I had with the cassettes, so I'm thinking of what was in there. But yeah, that kind of music.
First album, Chris?
Eliminator. ZZ Top.
Yeah.
Nice. Mine was first 45 was Dukes of Hazzard soundtrack, Waylon, and then the album, I think, because I had a lot of hand-me-downs from my brother. He gave me all those Maiden and all those tapes, but I think I bought Appetite for Destruction.
That was pretty close for me too.
Right, I think that was. I can remember going to. We had Sam Goody. Goody got it.
Goody got it.
We were
Yeah.
in line. I remember the whole thing. I'm pretty sure it was Appetite.
Guilty pleasure song on your iPod or phone?
Nelly, Hot in Here.
Yeah.
No question.
Well, I'm not really ashamed of anything I listen to because I'm proud to but
Elvira's got to be on there, right?
No, it is not. No, it is not. But I would say that no cutting on them, but it is not actually on my phone. I think that George Michael is one of the greatest singers of all time. One More Try off the Faith record. It's not a guilty pleasure, it's a pleasure every time. One More Try, George Michael. I'll listen to that and just go, wow, what this guy must have felt when he sang this song and heard that playback. Everybody must have just lost it. So.
Yeah, it's hard to call them guilty pleasures. Can't they just be pleasures?
That's what I think they're just pleasures.
I don't really know. There's a Daft Punk live album I have in my iPod that the first track just fires me up. I don't know what it is, but I'm not guilty about it.
Yeah.
And what is next for the record company? Continuing the tour, I know you're going over to Europe,
Yep.
first half of next year.
Yep, we're going to do that. We'll be on the road through the summer at least already, and then some festivals and all that type of thing. So we're gonna work as hard as we can on this album. There's some stuff can't announce yet, but it's coming down the way. That's gonna be a great thing for us. But we took about 3 weeks off before this tour, which we hadn't done ever, and everybody sort of disappeared. And then with the idea that okay, we come back, it's gonna get real again, and it takes you a minute to recalibrate your brain and say, all right, now we're in a different town every night.
Goodbye.
And
we're gone.
But you get in it, and it's like this has actually been the best tour we've had yet, I think, because you can gauge it by how long it's feeling. Like first few weeks flew by. This has been great, and it's part of it is getting to play some new songs finally, because 4 years we were on the road. And we really only had the stuff for the first album and a few EPs we put out, a couple of covers and stuff, and we refined that show to a point where we were very proud of it, but it was time to move on and add some new stuff. So it's been really fun to explore those songs every night and try different things, but we'll be working a good amount of next year,
The music's always fun, but touring is a grind, as any musician will tell you, and this has been like the first time in my life I like waking up in the morning, I'm like, this is the whole day. I'm enjoying this entire day. I always enjoy it. I enjoy everything around it, but it's like, driving yourself, carrying amps, playing in front of nobody. This was what we all did for many years before we got together, and we did it for 3.5 years hard before we put out the Give It Back to You record. So, it's been fun to have a good group of people, be playing venues where you've got enough people coming that you can have your group of people that come with you, your crew, and they make your life better every day, and they do a great job and add to the art and the music. So I'm having the time of my life.
And a lot more to come from the record company, I'm sure, in the near future.
Absolutely.
The record company, guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank
Here
you.
in Albany on Alt 105.7.